Good afternoon, dear friends, and welcome to our online event, Grenada Citizenship for South African Investors. I would like to welcome everyone who would watch our webinar live and also those who will watch the recorded version. We will be happy to answer any questions that you might have regarding these amazing programs. But first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Anastasia Yani, and I'm the CEO of Global Citizen Advisory. Our company is specializing in providing consultation services and advice regarding investment citizenship and residency programs. We have knowledge and experience in all European, Caribbean, and American programs. But to start with, let's say, what is citizenship or residency by investment programs? What is all the buzz about the so-called golden visa? To put it simply, these are all government-approved programs where investors have an opportunity to invest into the real economies of various countries, and in return they get economic citizenship or residency. These programs are very popular, and especially now, the reason is very simple. Every family and every person wants to have a better future or more options for their families. Of course, the reasons for every family, for every country is different. But from our experience, we have identified the big reasons that all our clients from South Africa mention to us when we are talking about citizenship or residency by investment. So the first big reason is relocation of families to safer and wealthier countries. The second big reason is providing better future for the children. Of course, also everyone now wants to get a little bit of insurance against unknown, and we all want to hedge our investments. So everyone is looking for the safe and secure investment. The fifth reason is very wonderful, and it sounds fantastic, and I think it's something that we all dream about now because it is connected with the ease of traveling. And now we're all restricted, but we all know that this time will change, and hopefully soon we will all be able to travel again and again. It will be extremely important to have this ease of traveling. In Global Citizen Advisory, we select suitable immigration program for each individual and each family based on their specific requirements. But today, we will talk about Citizenship of Grenada. This is a very well-known and very popular program. During 1 hour, and actually we will talk a bit less, during about 45 minutes of our webinar, we will talk about benefits, practical steps, and discuss main points and questions that we receive from our clients. I'm very happy to be joined today by Mariam Mansouri, Business Director of Range Developers, a wonderful person and a professional with huge experience. Range Developers is the only development company that actually completed and delivered luxury hotels in the Caribbean. They have deep knowledge and expertise of the market. Mariam herself has been working with international investors for over 8 years, and she is a renowned expert in all aspects on all Caribbean citizenship. But of course, today the topic is Grenada. Welcome, Mariam. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you very much, Anastasia. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the wonderful introduction. I look forward to discussing our Grenada option and the citizenship, all the advantages it has for a family. especially based out in South Africa. As you know this, we've been discussing this together for a while. The demand out of South Africa seems to be increasing day after day. And we thought that, while doing a webinar, we can have everybody together and address everyone's questions at the same time, because, sometimes my questions are your questions, but that person may not have thought about it. Having said that, I look forward to meeting everyone that's attended our webinar with your team after this in the next coming week or 10 days. We're here, you're here, so we look forward to it.
Thank you, Mariam. And guys, we will try to cover lots of questions during webinar, but please feel free to put any questions in the chat box. We will leave special time to be able to answer as many questions as we can. If we don't manage to answer during our session, we will definitely contact you and answer all the questions on a later stage. Mariam, but before we go into the Grenada specifically, what have you seen during the last year? The last year that was a very strange year. Have you seen increase in demand? Have you seen the increase in demand for Grenada citizenship because you can do everything remotely?
It's been a very strange year. Every time I talk about last year, I talk about events that happened in 2019 and not 2020. It's with all the strangeness, it has created a lot of uncertainty for a lot of people. And what we have seen over the past year is a huge demand for second citizenship. Everyone's looking for a backup plan. Everyone has realized that, if they had another citizenship, if they were living in another country, if they were in a country that, maybe provided vaccines faster, maybe provided healthcare better, them and their families would be in a more secure position today. And if they were, if they were thinking about it as a maybe, maybe not, that has dramatically changed last year. Prior to 2020 and prior to COVID, a better citizenship was a luxury product. It was a luxury travel document. However, today we've seen with Grenada and all the options that it has become a safe haven. It has become a backup plan. It has become a form of freedom for a family, whereas that's not the way it was looked at before.
I think I would totally agree with you, because we also see the shift that, like you put it absolutely correctly, before it was plan B, maybe we will ever use it. But now we get more in-depth discussions with people who are actually considering proper relocation. So I think that here it's absolutely true. And I think that we both agree that the benefits of having second citizenship, they are becoming more and more evident in the pandemic period and in the post-pandemic period as well.
100%, I agree with you.
Okay, so to start with, let us do a very short presentation. So for those of you who do not know what is Grenada citizenship and how you can get it, we will go very quickly through a short presentation that will show us requirements, process, and what you need to know before we go to the session of questions and answers. Okay, so to go very quickly, and please have in mind that we will go into more details and in more practical discussions of the benefits of the Grenada citizenship. But the first question is always, why Grenada? Because there are so many other options available, and even though people who work with the immigration solutions, they know the popularity of each and every product, but for these ones, I want to start with the biggest benefits. What does Grenada citizenship offer to the investors? First of all, there is an opportunity to move your families to the United States with the help of E2 visa. There is also an opportunity to obtain a long-term business visa to the United States. This passport, this citizenship, immediately gives you visa-free travel to over 144 countries, including UK, EU, China, Hong Kong, Singapore, Brazil. Very important, there is no need to visit the island during application process. There are no requirements to reside in Grenada before or after citizenship is granted. And very important, information on obtaining citizenship is not disclosed. You don't have to move to Grenada, but if you want to, the citizenship gives you the right to live and work on this fantastically beautiful island at all times and enjoy all these rights. All family members can obtain citizenship, and citizenship is inherited. The country enjoys social and political stability. The tax implications are brilliant because there are basically no tax implication, but at the same time, there is no global income, dividends, wealth, and inheritance tax, no interview or language test requirements, and processing time is very fast, only 2 to 3 months. The fees are minimal, and the program is very transparent. Who can apply? We already said that the program covers the whole family. The investor, spouse of investor, dependent children, and parent of the main investors as well. What is very important, childless or unmarried siblings of the main investor or spouse of investor can apply as well with the same application. Criteria are quite simple and again very transparent. The investor, the main applicant, has to be at least 18 years old. They should have no sanctions or restrictions on entry to EU, USA, UK, and Canada. You will be required to provide criminal record, the clean criminal record, and you should possess impeccable personal and business reputation. And like everywhere in the world, you need to be able to provide the proof of your source of funds. You will need to have enough funds to make the required investment because, as I mentioned earlier, this is citizenship by investment. And on this slide, we can see the options. We can see the option that this is shares in the hotel and donation. Okay. For the steps, we will cover it a little bit later. And now let's go to our questions, because that was just a preview. And guys, we will answer all the questions. Most of them, they will be answered during the webinar as well, but I will answer the first question because it's important. This particular webinar is only for Grenada. Of course, we will be able to assist you with other countries as well, but today we're talking about that specific country and that specific program. Okay, so Mariam, my favorite section. Let's have questions that we hear again and again and again and again from most of our clients. So let's discuss a little bit. Why do South African investors choose Grenada?
One of many reasons, Anastasia. Majority of the South African clients that we currently have on board and the demand that we see from South Africa revolves around two factors. One of the main factors is global mobility, which has become a lot more important during this pandemic. People want to know that they have a citizenship that allows them to leave now. Get on a flight and go to the UK now. If they have friends and family in Italy, they want to leave now. People are working from home, kids are being homeschooled. So in that sense, needing to leave and not having to wait for a visa and a visa application and all of that gives a client peace of mind to know that he or she can pick up their family tonight, regardless of what happens in the country that they're a resident in, and leave. The second factor is wanting to relocate to the United States. When President Trump was in office, he changed the laws, and the green card, so the EB-5, was increased to $900,000 and $1.8 million. $1.8 million in a normal area, and $900,000 in a targeted employment area, which is not where a person wants their business to be. However, that made it so much more important and relevant for Grenadian citizens to be able to relocate to the United States for as little as $100,000. Now, sometimes that sounds too good to be true, but it's not. So, as a Grenadian citizen, all Grenadians have a treaty with the United States that gives them something called an E2 visa. The exact definition of an E2 visa is a non-immigrant investor visa. So there's around 78 countries in the world that have the E2 treaty with the United States. So not everybody has it. Unfortunately, South Africans do not have it. Indians do not have it. It says that if you're of a treaty country, you can open a business of your choice. And this is really important because in the EB-5, you have to invest your money with a regional center. Now, whether that money is 900 or 1.8 million, that's secondary. You're not in charge of your own destiny. And then you have to wait 5, 6, 7 years. For South Africans right now, the wait is between 4 to 6 years until your turn comes. However, if you're an E2 treaty visa holder, you will be able to open a business of your choice in a state of your choice anywhere in the United States, get your E2 visa within 6 to 12 weeks, and via that relocate your entire family with you. So you can live in the United States, your kids get free public education in the United States, they get Social Security, in-state tuition fees, and your spouse can work anywhere he or she pleases. In that sense, it's cheaper because the average cost for a family of 4 to get Grenada, their investment, their citizenship, all their fees, everything included, is approximately around $315,000. Put another $110,000 into a business of your choice, you're still under $500,000, which the original EB-5 price was. Long way from $900,000. And then there's time. 6 to 12 weeks is a very, very different wait to 4 to 6 years. And as a result, bonus on the side, you've got a second citizenship that allows you to travel visa-free, as we mentioned. That's also tax-free. Grenada is a tax-efficient jurisdiction. We will get into that a little further on. And you can include your entire family, whomever is dependent on you. As you said in the presentation, sometimes one investment gives a family 6 or 7 citizenships. Husband, wife, 3 kids, husband's mother, and wife's father. Bam.
So basically what you're saying that with E2 visa, we can have a solution if we want to relocate to the United States, the whole family, and it's actually cost efficient and efficient time-wise, and you have lots of choices. You can create your own business or move your own business, and your kids and your spouse will have all the benefits of the citizens.
Yes, 100%. The reason why people may not have been very familiar with the E2 visa in South Africa is simply because South African citizenship does not have an E2 visa treaty. So it's not something that's maybe discussed and brought up in conversations.
Excellent. And before we go more about Grenada passport, the visa-free travel to 144 countries. Again, like I said, it's a dream for everyone, and I know that for South Africa as well. But guys, I'm very positive that soon we will be able to travel. So we always had a question. How does it work? Am I restricted to a certain number of visits? Am I restricted just like with a normal visa?
Sure. Wonderful questions, Anastasia. And yes, it's not visa on arrival, ladies and gentlemen. It's not online visa, it's visa free. Meaning, if you're a Grenadian citizen today and you decide that you want to be in London, all you need to do is pack your bags and go to the airport. And it's visa free access to 144 countries. Those countries include the United Kingdom, all of Europe, Hong Kong, Singapore, Russia, China. If you have business affiliates in China, which a lot of our entrepreneurs do, and as much as I sympathize that people may or may not want to go to China today, we cannot deny that it is one of the world's largest and leading economies. We eventually do want to go. We have to go. And in the world, you've got around 6, 7, maximum 8 countries that have visa-free access for China on their citizenship. There is no restriction on how many times you can go. You can fly in and out as you please. However, the United Kingdom, just to show you the strength of the passport, you can stay in the United Kingdom 6 months a year consecutively without needing a visa on your Grenadian citizenship. You can stay in Europe 3 months consecutively every 6 months. So it is 6 months in the year, but it's divided up. This really, really changes things for a family. Families that are looking to travel for work, for pleasure. I have a lot of my South Africans telling me, you know what, Miriam, I have a 1 year multiple Schengen visa and I have a 5 year UK visa. But when it expires, by the time it expires and I have to renew it, I will miss out on a deal that's been taking place in the UK, that's been taking place in Germany. I'm the only one that can't just hop on a plane, go there and meet suppliers, for example, or investors or whatever business you're in. So that really makes a huge difference. And now, as we slowly step into a post-COVID world, and I keep saying post-COVID because I really want this to be over, we're going to see a lot more travel restrictions, a lot more difficulties getting visas. One thing that's being discussed is this, if you don't have a vaccine, you can't apply for a visa. I mean, we don't know, but it's complicated. So to give yourself and your family that security and that luxury of traveling visa free and hassle free will make a big difference in your lives.
100%, 100%. I'm with you on it. But now, so guys, we already identified that the Grenada citizenship gives you an option to relocate should you wish to do that. It also gives you lots of opportunities for visa-free traveling, which we believe soon will happen and you will be able to enjoy this freedom. But now let's go back to Grenada itself, because there are lots and lots of questions about the island itself. And the first one, surprisingly, is where is Grenada?
It is not, well, I love that you bring that up because it happens every time. See, because people don't need to live there, they don't need to visit there to get their passports, it doesn't mean that the location of the country of their citizenship is irrelevant to them. It's still quite relevant, right? Grenada is a island, it's a Commonwealth island, it's part of the Caribbean, and it's located in the Caribbean close to the Americas. The easiest way to get there, if someone chooses to, which they do, a lot of our clients do want to go enjoy their free stay in the Caribbean, which they avail through Range, is either through the United Kingdom or through Miami. It's around a 2.5, 3 hour flight from Miami.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, 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 it's on the list. It looks amazing. Can you tell us, because the investment is connected with shares, so what is in general Grenada's economic outlook?
Sure. Grenada as an island and as a country, their main sources of income is citizenship and tourism. So these two go in hand. That's their main source, that's their GDP. So we decided as Range Developments to bring those two factors together as close as possible. Prior to Range getting involved in the Caribbean in general, people were selling tiny little, 30, 35 square meter apartments and selling them for citizenship. Yes, there was an investment, and yes, the client got their citizenship, but the client didn't really get to enjoy their investment. And nothing came out of their investment because these are islands, it's an island life. The closest, more understandable concept to the Caribbean on our side of the world is the Maldives and the Seychelles. So, it's not Durban, which is a bustling, hustling, bustling city. It's not Dubai, where we've got skyscrapers. It is an island lifestyle. So, Range Development develops five-star hotels. Investing in the hotel, it gives you citizenship. It's as per the law. The real estate law says that you have to invest a minimum of $220,000 in an approved real estate project, approved by the government, of course, in order to be able to qualify for citizenship. So the hotel fund falls under that definition. When we take this conversation offline, I just like to remind everybody, the paperwork is there, the approvals are there, the government, those are all there, and we'll discuss that with all of you individually. But whatever we say, we will put in writing and have the right documents to back it up. Now, when you're a hotel investor, you're an investor in the entire resort. So it's not timeshare, it's not enough of that stuff, it's an equity share in a hotel. So you drive your revenue from the restaurant, from the spa, from the taxi service, from the room rentals, from the, F&B, from everything that's in the hotel. The hotel has a limited number of shareholders. That's not done by us, it's done by the government in order to protect the investors so developers do not dilute their shares. This hotel has 575 investors allocated to it. Now, that means 575 shares, 575 investments. But that can mean, 4,000 passports, because as we mentioned, one share or one investment for a family of 5 will give them 5 citizenships. Minimum investment amount is $220,000. Again, that's not decided by us, it's decided by the government. So a lot of people ask me, if I buy a hut there or if I buy a little piece of land, then what happens, Mariam? First of all, the hut's not government approved, nor is the land, because obviously they're giving you a stronger second citizenship and they would like it to somehow make sense and create jobs for the country, which a hotel does. Second of all, is it more expensive because I'm a 5-star hotel? No. Minimum price is $220. All the government fees are on the government website, and that's what we charge accordingly, hence why we're an approved developer. On top of everything else, as you mentioned earlier, Anastasia, Range is the only developer that has completed projects under citizenship by investment in the Caribbean. Nobody else worldwide has done that as of yet.
Mm-hmm. That sounds really good, and we will later go a little bit deeper into the investment itself. Now, you said that there is the part of why the government is doing it is, of course, to create jobs. And actually, we do have questions when people are asking, can I relocate to Grenada after getting citizenship, and can I work there?
100%. Once you become an investor, citizenship by investment citizen, you have every right as a born Grenadian. The only difference, Anastasia, between someone who acquires citizenship by investment and someone who's born in Grenada is one thing. The person that's born in Grenada can run for political office. The person that wasn't born in Grenada is not able to run for political office. So they can vote, they have every right to live there, they have every right to raise their families there, and whoever is asking might actually be interested in the St. George's University, and that could be a reason why we're discussing if we could move there with our families, because St. George's is one of the most renowned universities in the world, and it is one of the only few ones that allows you to practice your medical residency in the United States if you graduate outside the United States, which we don't see happening very often.
We do see this happening very often as well, because in many cases people are doing the second citizenship for their children. And when they hear that actually there is a university providing such an excellent opportunity for medical profession, it's definitely an additional plus for the program.
100%.
Now, for how many years is Grenadian passport valid, and what is the procedure of renewing it? This is another question that we get quite often.
So the citizenship, the passport's valid for 5 years. You get a certificate of naturalization, which is equivalent to your birth certificate. So if you're born in South Africa, of course, you have a birth certificate. If I acquire South African citizenship through marriage or living there, or however it is that the laws work, I would be a naturalized citizen. And the only thing you need to do is have your passport handy and your certificate of naturalization, which is your second ID. Refer to the closest Grenada embassy, and they renew your citizenship within the day.
That's fantastic. And can we pay attention once again to the fact that Grenada citizenship covers all family? Can you expand a little bit on that?
Sure. So the law in Grenada says that one investment in an approved development can give citizenship to all the dependents of that main investor. So hypothetically, we'll just have an example. So let's say it's a husband and wife with 2 kids, and the husband's brother and the wife's parents. So that makes it around 7, if I'm not mistaken, or 8 family members. The only thing these family members need to do is be eligible to be that main applicant's dependent. So obviously his spouse is his dependent, that goes automatically without say. If his children are not married and under the age of 30, they will also count as his dependents. So adult children, you don't need to make a separate investment, you don't need to do a separate application. And then if their parents are financially dependent on them, you can include your parents as well. There is no age limit. Siblings, as long as that sibling has never been married, can also be included in that application. So the husband or the wife's sibling can be part of that application, providing they've never been married. Hence why we see applications of, one investment says 6 citizenships, one investment, 8 citizenships, which makes sense for the entire family.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is definitely a huge plus, because we always want to protect our families, and if we can protect our parents and unmarried siblings, that's fantastic.
And children up to the age of 30 years old. A lot of the other programs cut kids off at 21.
That's very true. Okay, now I would like to ask you a little bit about the investment itself. And let me try to put the presentation, because, dear friends, as we mentioned earlier, this is citizenship by investment. So you will need to invest in the approved options. And Miriam represents the developer that builds a government-approved hotel in Grenada. And now let's cover this part a little bit more. One second. Give me 1 second. Okay. Mm-hmm. One second, let me try to get to the presentation about the resort. There it seems to be. 1 second. Yes. Let me just double check. That's correct. Okay. Apologies for that. So, as discussed, today we're discussing the investment option of shares in a hotel business. So, Mariam, please.
So the hotel is divided into 575 shareholders. These 575 shares they're all structured under a trust so that no one overlaps with anybody else. You are not a shared title deed owner with someone else, because that, I mean, given our experience in the Caribbean, please bear in mind that this is the third hotel that we're building. It is quite problematic, because if you and I, Anastasia, are on a shared title deed together, or a mutual title deed as they call it, and one of us gets into some kind of legal trouble later on, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, 10 years from now, or even if our children inherit it from us, that has its own consequences in terms of compliance. So you're a shareholder structured under a trust. Again, that's a conversation that we can have with everybody individually as well if they want more information regarding that offline. And you are a shareholder in the entire resort. Now, you drive a profit from it. So based on the performance of the hotel, you make an estimated ROI of between 2 to 4% or 2 to 5%. Please note that this is not an investment opportunity, this is a citizenship opportunity. A lot of my clients, rightfully so, tell me, Mariam, if I invested in maybe South Africa itself or bought an apartment in Dubai, it would give me 8% return on my investment, or 7%, or whatever it is. And I agree with them 100%. However, those don't come with a citizenship. Main focus of this is citizenship by investment. Investment is the tool that gives you the citizenship. But not to say that we're not going to enjoy a small ROI that comes our way. Second of all, which is really important for investors to take note of, is you are limited liability. So God forbid, if the hotel runs on a loss one quarter, you are not liable for any losses. When we give you a quotation today that includes, as I said, all your fees and your investment and your citizenship, that is what you've paid for life. So there's no additional fees 1 year later. There's no, oh, the hotel made a loss. There's no service charges. There's no management fees. There's none of that. So we have a discussion. There's a price dictated by the government, and that's about it. The only thing is, that quarter or that 2 quarters, you don't make an ROI, but you are protected forever. And that's what your investment gives you, basically.
And not only this, look, guys, you're investing in a beautiful 5-star resort.
And now that you said that, it's also reminded me, Anastasia, during the time that Grenada Six Senses is under construction, our clients enjoy 2 weeks a year free stay at any of our other 2 hotels. Our other 2 hotels are the St. Kitts Park Hyatt in St. Kitts and Nevis, award-winning hotel by Condé Nast. And our second hotel that we delivered in 2019 is the Kempinski in Commonwealth Dominica, neighboring islands to Grenada, which is also a very wonderful hotel, and it's award-winning by CNN Travel and Forbes magazine. So you and your family get that free stay 2 weeks a year until the Six Senses is ready. Once the Six Senses is ready, in addition to the free stay that you get at the Six Senses in Grenada, you will also get your ROI. Now, questions that investors always ask first: how do I exit? We haven't entered into the agreement, but we want to know how we can exit. And of course, rightfully so, every smart investor wants to know when and how they can exit. How can you exit? Simple. The law, again, protects you in that sense. It says, if you have invested in a government-approved project, 5 years after your investment, you can exit. Just the way today, the highlight of this webinar, the interest in attending this webinar and thinking about Grenada's second citizenship program, Grenada's investment is led by your need and want of second citizenship. The same will apply to the second buyer. So the second buyer who buys your investment will also be able to apply for second citizenship for themselves and their families. Same law applies, same rules on dependents apply. So the difference is you're in a better position to sell because you've already bought into something that is functioning. You know, you took the risk, it was under construction. You put your hand in Ranger's hand and said, you know what, you guys have a track record. We believe that you can do this again. You're already invested in the CARICON. And the new buyer will be able to buy something that is up, ready, already delivering ROI. And if you show them your citizenship, if you show them your passport with all the stamps that it has, it just makes it that much better for everybody.
Thank you. I love watching this presentation, and I think that the fact that it is not the first development. They have already been delivered beautiful hotels, and you have a chance to stay in them with your family, and then not only get a citizenship, but to also get a return in an investment and have a clear pathway to exit. That's a huge benefit of that program. But let's just one question, because even though you already touched on it, we have this question again and again and again. So what am I buying for this 220? Am I buying the room itself? What am I buying? You already mentioned it, but because it's so important, I really want you to say it once again.
Of course, you are buying a equity share in the Six Senses Resort in Grenada.
Thank you. Okay, now let's tell me something else. Again, this is connected to the investment. What happens if my application is not approved? Do I lose my money?
All right, so basically what happens is the deposit for the investment, when we give you a quotation, payments are due in two tranches. The initial payment is a deposit for the investment, as well as a few of your fees that goes to the government. The fees that go to the government are not refundable, as they go to every government. They're never going to come back. They're not huge. They're your legal fees. It's $1,000 per person application fees, and they're your due diligence fees. So that money actually goes into preparing your file, submitting your file, and them doing due diligence on the application of your file. In case, God forbid, you do get rejected, and chances are slim, because we will need to have a very honest conversation together before we start, and I'll tell you why. The $22,000, which is your deposit for the investment part, that goes to the developer, I refund to you. It's part of your contract, it's in paper, right? So contractually, I will give you back your $22,000. Doesn't work for anybody. So we have a 98% track record of approvals. Nobody is rejected based on their nationality, on their race, on their religion, on their sect. The only rejections are based on your own personal background. So it doesn't benefit the developer to take you on board if you're going to get rejected. It's not going to benefit you, because you will lose a little bit of money in the meantime. So given that that client's background is clean, there's no fraud charges, tax evasion, you're not wanted for anything, there's no money laundry happening, why would you get rejected?
Thank you. I think now let's go a little bit through the process of what is actually the timeline and what we need to do. If I manage to do this. Okay, so what are the steps? Before we go to answering the questions, I would like to go a bit about the process. What are the steps if you feel that there could be an interest to Grenada citizenship for your particular circumstances? So the first is online consultation. This consultation is free of charge, where the experts will be able to answer your specific questions, assess your specific situation, and advise whether this option is suitable and whether it will fit your requirements. The second part is the checking of the documents. Like Miriam just said, it's in no one's interest to apply if there is a chance that the application will not be approved. So there is a revision of passport and accompanying documents to ensure eligibility for participation. Of course, during online consultation and before we start doing the checking of the documents, you get complete set of documents. You get quotation for how much it will cost with all the government fees, with everything. So before we proceed to the second step and check the eligibility, you have very clear picture about everything. The next step, after we confirm that you're eligible for participation, is the payment of reservation deposit, which is 10%, and as Mariam said, is fully refundable in the unlikely scenario that application is not confirmed. And you also pay lawyers and government fees. All the documents are prepared, application is submitted. The government is quite efficient in their approval procedures, even in COVID time. So the next step is approval of the citizenship by the government. You are informed about that stage, and then you proceed with the final balance payment. And the final stage that you get your ownership certificate and your Grenada passport that gives you all the benefits that we described during our webinar. So this is the process, and we welcome all participants to use this opportunity and book this free consultation should Grenada citizenship be of interest. But now let's go to the questions, and we do have lots of questions, so we will try to cover all of them. So the interesting questions: are there any limitations on age, Mariam?
No.
No.
There
So
are limitations on the age of your dependents when they're your children. However, in terms of the main applicant, there are no age limitations. However, you do have to be above 18 years old and have made some money in order to be the main applicant.
Yes, so you see we have the minimal age, but we don't have any other limitations. No. Next question. What is the total cost of the whole process with the fees, etc., all included?
Thank you for that question, sir or ma'am, but I won't be able to answer you right now because I don't know the size of your family. If you could refer to one of your global citizen advisors, they'll put you in touch with me. We will send you a quotation that includes all your fees, everything included.
But roughly, can you give an idea, let's say a family, 2 adults, 2 children?
2 adults, 2 children should be anywhere between, if the children are minor, between $315,000 to $320,000. See, you got to bear in mind, some of these costs are not very different if you're a single applicant or if you're a family of 4, or if you're a couple and you're a family of 4. Because the $220,000 is fixed, right? So whether you're 8 people applying together or 1 person applying, the 220 is fixed. And then the rest are government fees. So we can get into that. Please let us know. Send details to Global Citizen and they will tell you what we need.
Mr. Christian, if you could let us know what is the family of 4, what is the combination of the family, we will provide to you exact quotation with everything included. Next question. I assume that there is no return on investment during the build phase. How long will it take for the hotel to start generating revenue? We have some fantastic questions, Mariam.
They're amazing. So hotels under construction, as you rightfully said, and there is no ROI. You can stay at any of our other hotels free of charge 2 weeks a year to have a room there. And the hotel will be ready end of 2022. And it should look to start making ROI after the first year of operations.
Excellent. Next question. If I should exit after 5 years, will that affect my citizenship in any way? What are the costs involved if I exit?
Well, you don't lose your citizenship, and your future generations don't lose their citizenship either. So let's say if you've applied as a family of four today, and then your children have children, their children will inherit the citizenship regardless of whether you have sold your share or not. This, having said, means that you need to hold it for 5 years. Everything we talk about when it comes to exit is about the 5 years, right? It doesn't affect you or your citizenship in any way. It doesn't cost you anything because the cost will be bared by the new buyer. They'll have to pay you $220,000 and they'll have to pay us just the government fees so that we can process getting them a new citizenship.
Thank you. You mentioned the return on investment estimated to be annually, but let's just repeat it once again so everyone is clear.
Sure, we're looking at between 2 to 4, 2 to 5%.
Thank you. Perfect. We have a question from Linda. With a Grenada passport, would I be allowed to work in the UK? Thank you.
My apologies, Linda, but that is it's a broader question which I will not be able to answer right now unless we know exactly what you want to do in the United Kingdom. Those are the UK laws. However, because Grenada is a Commonwealth country and the Queen is head of state, there are certain advantages, maybe not as big in terms of working in the United Kingdom.
Thank you. Does your firm handle the E2 visa as well, if the main goal to live and work in the US?
50% of our clientele, their main goal is to live in the United States via the E2 visa. So I understand exactly where you're coming from. We don't handle the process. We are developers in Grenada and we give you a Caribbean passport. However, we are completely, we don't have any commercial exclusivity tie-ups with certain E2 businesses or certain E2 lawyers. We work extensively with a few that have amazing reputations and they've been able to give our clients wonderful service. We would make the introductions and you would be able to choose yourself. The reason behind that, another reason behind that is also, see, you can start your own business in the United States. You can buy a franchise in the United States. You can buy an SME in the United States. So it's more legal work for them to get you, your business plan and your interview sorted, as opposed to there's a certain project that you have to only invest in. You're free to do that on your own.
Perfect. Fantastic. Next question. If we are a same-sex couple marriage, would my spouse also receive citizenship? I was told that Grenada does recognize same-sex marriages.
I'm sorry to say that they don't.
They don't.
I wish it wasn't that way. However, unfortunately, they don't. So usually our same-sex couples that approach us, and we have quite a few, either do two individual applications or one does their application and then sells it on, sells it on for $1 to their spouse 5 years later.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. What are the most popular areas in Grenada for expats? Schooling for our 3 and 5-year-old will be the most important. We would want to live there permanently.
Grenada is not that big of an island. It has a population of around 125,000 people, and the entire island is beautiful. I can't really say one area is better than the other. In terms of schooling, as we discussed, doesn't really apply to your children's ages just yet. However, the St. George's University is there. Their schools are, their primary and secondary schooling is in English. And the whole island's lovely. Please come visit.
Thank you. Thank you. There is another question, but I think we answered it. Does the investment cover a single person or a family? Thankfully, it covers the whole family. Okay. So I think that we managed to go through all the questions. Again, I would like to thank everyone for participation. I would like to thank Mariam for giving us wonderful and very informative answers. And I would like to extend once again invitation to all the participants that we will be, our consultants will reach out to you and will try to provide even more information to be able to explain to you and inform you about that fantastic opportunity. Have in mind that if Grenada is not the program for you, there are other programs available and we will be able to assist you as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for your time. And Anastasia, as always, thank you to you and your team for setting up these wonderful webinars that are interactive and very informative.
Thank you. Okay, just one more question before we say, because it's that question.
Sure.
Just to confirm, do you get the 220K back after 5 years?
You can sell your investment. It's up to you. The minimum the minimum price dictated by the government is $220,000. On a weekly basis, this happens in our offices here. Our clients from St. Kitts and our clients from Dominica come to us. They found a buyer and they're selling. They're making their money back.
That's very true, and we can confirm that we have secondary sales of shares in the ranges other hotels because they are extremely popular and have proven their efficiency. So now I wish all of us a wonderful evening. I wish all of us to stay safe and be able to enjoy all the benefits that all the second citizenships are offering us. And thank you once again and have a great afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.